Imagine driving away with nearly $1 billion in cash, knowing that in just a few hours, the world as you know it will erupt into chaos. It sounds like the plot of an action thriller, right? But this isn't fiction. This is the true story of one of the most audacious heists in modern history. Welcome to the tale of Saddam Hussein's billion-dollar heist, where power, greed, and a family's desperate bid for survival collide in the shadow of an impending war. It's 4 a.m. on March 18, 2003. The streets of Baghdad are silent, but inside the central bank of Iraq, something unimaginable is happening. 3 large trucks are loaded with crates filled to the brim with US dollars. Nearly $1 billion in cash. This isn't just any routine bank operation. This is a heist ordered by none other than Qusay Hussein, the son of Iraq's dictator Saddam Hussein. Qusay Hussein, who was known as the quieter, more calculating of Saddam's sons, was tasked with a mission of monumental importance. In his hands was a handwritten note from his father, a direct order to withdraw a quarter of Iraq's currency reserves from the bank. Why? Well, because the dictator knew that within hours the U.S. invasion would begin, and moving around the country would become nearly impossible. Saddam needed liquid assets, and he needed them fast. But to understand the gravity of this heist, you first need to understand the context. The world was on the brink of war. After months of escalating tensions, the United States was ready to launch Operation Iraqi Freedom, a military campaign aimed at toppling Saddam Hussein's dictatorship regime. With the airstrikes set to begin the next day, Saddam predicted that his regime would collapse in front of his eyes, so he needed to secure his wealth, and he had to do it fast. This wasn't just about survival, it was about preserving the power he'd gained over decades. As the trucks rolled out of Baghdad, American intelligence officials quickly took notice. Some believe Saddam was planning to transport the money across the border to Syria, where he could potentially fund an escape or maintain his grip on power from exile. Others thought that the money would be used to finance a rebellion against the US-led forces that were soon to invade. But despite those theories, the truth remained covered in mystery. In the next few days, the U.S. forces swept through Iraq and discovered gigantic sums of cash stashed away in different locations. $650 million were found in one of Saddam's palaces, money that was probably part of the original haul from the central bank. But even after these discoveries, a huge portion of the money, around $350 million, was still unaccounted for. So what was all this money for? Well, to understand that, you have to look at how Saddam lived. Saddam Hussein wasn't just a dictator, he was a man of excess, with a taste for the finer things in life. His palaces were more like small kingdoms, each one more luxurious than the last. The Al-Fa Palace, for example, was a huge estate, decorated with marble floors, gold fixtures, and sprawling gardens. And that was just one of over 80 palaces Saddam had built across Iraq. But the extravagance doesn't stop at palaces. Saddam's garage was filled with luxury cars, Rolls-Royces, Ferraris, Bentleys, you name it. He had private jets fitted with gold-plated seatbelts, and his collection of art and antiques would make the Louvre envious. This was a man who lived like a king. And to maintain that lifestyle, he needed a constant influx of cash. The billion-dollar heist wasn't just about securing money, it was about securing the very foundation of his lavish existence. But ruling a country like Iraq under a regime of fear wasn't cheap at all. Saddam's lavish lifestyle also included a vast network of loyalists who needed to be kept happy. These included generals, politicians, tribal leaders, and even foreign allies. These people weren't just bought with promises, they were bought with cold, hard cash. Take, for instance, the Rashid Hotel in Baghdad, a symbol of Saddam's rule. This 5-star hotel was reserved for the wealthy elite, a place where deals were made, alliances were forged, and dissent was crushed. The money that flowed through these halls was staggering, all carefully monitored by Saddam's inner circle. So, when the US forces closed in, it's no wonder Saddam's first instinct was to secure his wealth that had been critical to maintaining his iron grip on Iraq. But as the war raged on and Saddam's regime crumbled, the mystery of the missing $350 million only deepened. Some believe the money was successfully smuggled out of the country, possibly into Syria or Jordan, where it could be used to fund an underground network of Saddam loyalists. Maybe the money was used to finance insurgent groups that fought against the U.S. occupation. In the chaotic years that followed Saddam's fall, Iraq became a battleground for various militias and insurgents, many of whom were fiercely loyal to the fallen dictator. With cash in hand, these groups could buy weapons, pay fighters, and continue the struggle against the new Iraqi government and its American allies. Was this Saddam's final act of defiance? A way to ensure that even in death, his enemies would continue to bleed? Or perhaps the money found its way into the international banking system? During his rule, Saddam had cultivated relationships with various countries and businesses around the world. It's possible that the missing millions were laundered through foreign banks, eventually disappearing into the financial underworld. This means that the money might still be in circulation today, hidden in offshore accounts or invested in legitimate businesses. Over the years, treasure hunters, conspiracy theorists, and even governments have tried to uncover the missing fortune. But despite countless searches and investigations, no one's ever found the remaining cash. It's as if the money simply vanished into thin air. Still, the story of Saddam's missing millions is far from over. As new information comes to light and the search continues, who knows what secrets will be uncovered. Saddam Hussein's capture in December 2003 marked the end of an era. His trial, which ended with his execution in 2006, brought some measure of closure to the millions of Iraqis who suffered under his rule. But the mystery of the missing money still lingers. Where did it go? Did Saddam's closest allies manage to smuggle it out of the country? Or is it still hidden somewhere in Iraq, waiting to be discovered? The truth is, no one knows for sure. The missing millions have become the stuff of legend, fueling speculation and intrigue for over 2 decades. Some say the money is cursed, a dark reminder of Saddam's tyrannical rule. And with every passing year, the legend of the billion-dollar heist only grows. But one thing is certain, this heist remains one of the most audacious and mysterious in modern history. Saddam Hussein's legacy is one of brutality, greed, and a lust for power that knew no bounds. His billion-dollar heist, pulled off in the final hours before the fall of his regime, stands as a testament to his desperation and his desire to cling to power at any cost. But with no trace of the missing fortune, the question remains, will the truth behind Saddam's last great gamble ever be revealed? Or will it just be another ghost of his fallen empire? This is the story of Saddam Hussein's billion-dollar heist, where power, money, and mystery collided into one big boom. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest unsolved heists, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. And if you have any theories about what happened to Saddam's missing millions, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.